Hello guys, welcome back to another video of this Bomberman tutorial series. Before we start, guys, to support the channel, please like and subscribe to the video. Like the videos and subscribe to the channel, sorry. Okay. This time we are going to deal with the explosion. Last time what we did is that we have added the spread for it. Let it run. But there is no animation for it to disappear. It just stays there, so that's what we are going to do this time. And let me run that again. I'll show you something. You see, this doesn't look like it reaches a lot into this square. So what I want to do is go to this one and stretch it just a little bit here, so it looks more stretched and reaches out a little bit more. And since we are already here, these will have colliders when to detect if they collide with something. So let's add it right now, and it will be a box collider 2D. And let's decrease the size a little bit. So in order to see what we are doing here, I've just decreased the size of the green rectangle, so it has the whole object inside, but I'm just decreasing it a little bit on each side, and you'll see why later. Same thing we will do on this one here. We'll add a box collider 2D. Of course, we will set them to trigger, but let's continue reducing this. Will be 0.8, not 0.9, because it's already stretched on the x-axis. And we will set these as trigger. Trigger basically, it detects that there is a collision, but it does not prevent objects from moving through it. Okay. Now what we want to do is to create a script to manage these animations because they are fairly simple. I do not want to make an animator for it, but just for the example I'll make an animator for the bomb. Maybe we'll see what we do. So we go to scripts, and I'm going to create a mono behavior script. We'll call it explosion beam. Let's go to it, and here we are going to start by changing the start function, because we are going to do everything in here actually. And something, if you change the type of start from void to IEnumerator, be careful not to pick IEnumerable, it's an IEnumerator, it actually executes as a coroutine. And that's what we want here. Also, what we're going to do is we are going to change the scale from being 0 to 1 basically, then it will go back. But in order to manage that, we need 3 variables. Both are not both, 3 of them are private, and they are all floats. Sorry for caps. And one of them will be the duration for the expansion. We will set it, let's say, for 0.2 for now. We will do one for the delay, like how long it stays in the expanded state. Delay before going back on itself will be like 0.1. And also we will do dispersion delay, so it just disappears. Dispersion time, let's write this T capital, and we will make it something like 0.2 as the one above it. Okay, that's good. Now in order to do that, we have to define the 3 different states that we are going to use. So first step is to get the starting scale. So vector3 scale is transform.local scale. No, not lossy. I Inspected local scale. Okay, so we know the scale that we are starting with. It does not appear on the screen because before the first frame we are going to change it to 0, but we need to know the initial value to go back to it later. And now we are going to change this into transform.local scale equals new vector 3. We will have the same thing here on the x-axis. We will change the y-axis to 0, and we will keep the z-axis as it is. Okay, so this is the initialization. We will now need a timer to keep track of how many seconds or milliseconds have passed since we've started counting. And what we are going to do in the first step, this is expansion. So while t is less than the expansion time, what we are going to do is we are going to reduce the scale. So t plus equals time dot delta time. So we will increase the increment timer by delta time, which is the time for the last frame. Doesn't matter that we do it before doing the first frame and waiting for the frame to end. It really doesn't matter. Just this works, and we have to catch this case here. So if t is greater or equal than expansion time, we will just set t to be expansion time. Okay, now that we have our timer, we are going to change the scale. So transform.local scale will be pretty much the same thing we have here. What we are going to change is, instead of having 0 here, this will be a lerp. So it's a linear interpolation. I will explain what that is in a second. So mathf.lerp 0, no, not, yeah, it's 0 to the initial scale dot y, and we will have t being the parameter here. And before we forget, let's finish this state by adding yield return new wait for end of frame. Okay, this is the first step. Let me explain what this does now. So what we are doing here, first we have it, let's say this size, this is the y here, sorry for my writing, and now we have set it to 0, so basically it's a line, it's invisible. Now we have a timer that goes up to expansion time, and what lerp does, suppose we have, forget this example, we will come back to it. Now I'm just explaining this interpolation here. So we have point A and point B. This is B, this is A, and we are going in this direction. So how do we do this interpolation? T is actually a parameter going from 0 to 1. Like, suppose this point A is our 0, point B is 1. So if t is 0.1, then our value will be here. If t is 0, it will be A. If t is 1, it will be B. If t is 0.5, it will be the middle here, and so on. So it's just the value between A and B, and it's proportional to the value of t between 0 and 1. 0 being the first value here, and 1 the last value here, so it will change the value from 0 to the initial scale that we had. And we will wait for the end of frame. As long as t is still not bigger than 0.2 seconds, we will increase the timer again, and we will interpolate again by increasing t, so that will increase the new value that we have. Okay, after that we need to change something, which is we will activate the collider at this second, because initially we don't want to collide while the beam is not visible. So good thing to do here is actually to disable the collider before we do anything. So get component, we call this box collider 2D, we call it, it is a box collider 2D. Var collider equals that, and here we will do collider dot enabled equals false. It's part of the initialization. Now what we're going to do, after we have expanded our explosion, we will enable the collider again, so it will register collisions now, or triggers, and we will wait for seconds, not for the number 4, we will wait for X seconds, and the number of seconds is this delay, so yield return new wait for seconds delay, so it will wait 0.1 seconds in this case. Okay, next we are going to start the next phase, which is dissipation, so the explosion will become smaller again. We will have to set t back to 0, and we will pretty much use the same thing here. We will change this to dispersion time, or dissipation maybe we should call it. I don't care, it's pretty much the same thing. This won't change except for the values here. This is dispersion, not expansion. And now the only thing we are going to change is, instead of going to from 0 to the original scale, we will go from the original scale back to 0, and that's all. We will wait for the end of frame, and after all this is done, so make sure you are after the while loop, not inside it, destroy game object. Simple as that. Make sure that also the G is not capital, because if it is capital, it will be the class game object and it won't work, it will generate errors. Let's check if everything is alright. I think it is. Why is this underlined? Okay, let's change it. We will change it to box collider. In this case, I do not need to declare the collider up here, because we will only use it in this function here, and we are getting it only once. We don't need to get it multiple times, so it does not really affect performance at all. Now we go back to the editor. We will go to these prefabs, and I want to disable the colliders for now. It doesn't matter because we are disabling it in code, but it's always good to have extra checks. So what have we called them? It was explosion beam, right? Yep, explosion beam and explosion beam. It was there. Okay, let's try it now and see how it looks. You can, guys, experiment with the values that you have. You might get... Why am I in play mode? I was in play mode for quite a while, I guess. Okay. You can experiment with the values you have in the component. Depending on how you like it, you might change duration of the animation. I don't like it here. I think I have an error because it does not work properly. Let me see what we have. So we have the local scale here. We wait for end of frame. Box collider.enabled is true here. We are adding the delta time, waiting for end of frame. So why isn't it working? Well, it is working, but not as expected. Okay, let's debug it little by little. Oh yeah, it is because I was interpolating with t. T is actually not normalized here, so it goes from 0 to basically expansion time. What we need to do here is t will be not t, but the parameter we have is t divided by expansion time. So This will make this value normalized, going from 0 to 1. Okay, and we will do the same thing down here also. Let's go back and we will try it. Not quite as I expected it. I have experimented with some values before, so let me put them here, and what I found to be a good value is 0.15, 0.2, 0.15, and make sure you have the same thing for the two prefabs, otherwise it will look really weird and one will dissipate while the other is still there. So make sure you change it for both of them. Let's try it now. And let's see how it looks. I like this. I like how it looks. We can change it a little bit more maybe. I think it expands a little bit too fast. Maybe we should change it to being like with frames. It should be less smooth, but the timing I like it. So in order to do that, we can go here. Can we change the number of frames? Wait for... No, it's just... What's in the frame, next frame unit? I do not know what this does. Does this take number of frames? Nope. Okay, we can do this, but in order to change it, we can multiply this by, let's say, by... We are running... What's my refresh rate? Also, yeah, good thing to do here is go to any script, actually, any script that has a priority of execution like the player or the camera. They are there since the beginning, and go to awake. We will add something that will set the frame rate because it's a good thing to do for pixel art games, and we will do application dot target frame rate equals, I want to do it 30. Let's try. Oh yeah, it's an integer. Let's try it this way. I have an error. Yep. Maybe this will make it look more pixely, pixelish or pixelated or whatever it is. Okay. So if you look down here, you feel like it's more pixel art style now. And the explosions are less smooth, so I think I like it, but maybe we can smooth it a little bit more. Yeah, like 30 is too low, depends on your taste as usual, as always, but in order to make the explosion not be as smooth, we can multiply this by 2. So basically, the time is increasing twice per frame. So like the animation is going 2 times faster than the game there. Let's try it. I think the view looks too big here. Maybe I should change that. Yeah. That's a little bit too fast. Definitely less smooth. It does what we want, but it's a bit too fast. So maybe 1.2 here and 1.2 here. I always make the whole game before recording, and this is something I haven't tried before. Like, I just got the idea now and felt, yeah, it would look nice to have it look more like an arcade game. Yeah, I like that. It's definitely less smooth, not very jaggy. It looks cool. Yeah, and the camera, I don't like how it looks. So we go to the camera here, and for the size, we can do something like this. Also, we will have to change the values we have here. Let's clicked on the console. Yeah, this looks better, but I don't want this green appearing a lot here, so we will change these values. according to something we like. Let's change the position of the camera to be something like here maybe, and we will choose good values like -3 here and 1.5 here. -3 and 1.5 here. It will be, let's check, maybe 11 and -4.5. Yep. I messed up the values. Yeah, and this is 11. Sorry. Yep, this is it. Now let's put it back here. I don't think these are... No, they are good symmetrical values. Okay. Let's try it now. I think it will look better, and we will call it a day. Let's put a bomb there. Yeah, looks good. Okay, next time what we are going to do is we are going to detect if the bomb is between walls. We want to spread the beam there. Also, if we have enough time, I don't know which we are going to do first. If bombs are exploding on each other, this will explode immediately before finishing its timer. So guys, thank you for watching. Like the video if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye!